A local convenience store chain is being nationally recognized. Rutter's Farm Stores topped the Family Express as the healthiest convenience store chain in the entire country.
Well, today was opening day for the new Rutters in Altoona. Take a look. They officially opened their doors bright and early at 6 a.m. this morning, located on 6th Avenue in Altoona, where the old King's restaurant used to be. It is the third location now for Rutters in Blair County.
Rutters is planning to feed 15,000 frontline workers later this month. On July 24th, frontline workers can walk into any Rutters location for their free meal, which consists of a grab-and-go sandwich, chips, and fountain drink.
You see the bright lights, the clean storefronts, the endless food options, and you think Rutters is just another convenience store doing everything right. But what if that friendly brand image was just one part of the story? Behind the touchscreen and fuel pumps, there are real problems building up, and most customers have no idea. From environmental fights and food safety violations to employee complaints and data breaches that hit millions, Rutters is dealing with more than it wants you to see. We are not talking about rumors. We are talking about confirmed inspections, state investigations, and first-hand reports from people who know what goes on inside. Before your next stop for gas or snacks, stick around because these are the 5 secrets Rutters doesn't want you to know, and once you hear them, you might never see Rutters the same way again. In early 2024, Rutters found itself at the center of a digital nightmare that most companies hope they never have to face. A major data breach quietly hit the chain's payment systems, exposing the credit and debit card information of more than 1.3 million customers across at least 79 store locations. For nearly a year, malware was secretly installed on Rutters card readers, silently capturing sensitive customer data every time someone made a purchase. This malware was designed to collect credit card numbers, expiration dates, and potentially cardholder names, sending that information to cyber criminals who could use it for fraud or sell it on the dark web. The most alarming part is how long it went unnoticed. Customers were swiping their cards daily, trusting the system, while their private financial information was being stolen in real time. When the breach was finally discovered and reported, the damage had already been done. People started to notice strange charges on their bank accounts, some of which drained entire checking balances or maxed out credit cards. For many, the breach meant spending hours on the phone with banks, replacing cards, updating autopay accounts, and hoping their identity had not been stolen. The response from Rutters was slow. Customers were not told right away, and the notification process took months. Some only learned about it after the news broke online. Critics slammed the company for failing to act fast and for not being more transparent. Eventually, Rutters was forced into a legal settlement worth $1 million after Pennsylvania's Attorney General stepped in. As part of the deal, the company agreed to upgrade its cybersecurity measures, create stronger detection systems, and give customers more information about what had happened and how to protect themselves. But for many people, it felt like too little, too late. In today's world, a gas station is not just a place to fuel your car. It is where you swipe your card, use rewards programs, or link personal info to mobile pay. People expect companies to protect their data, not hand it over to criminals without even knowing it. What happened at Rutters is a wake-up call. It showed just how easy it is for things to go wrong when cybersecurity is not a top priority. Even a quick stop for snacks or gas can turn into a major headache if the systems behind the counter are not secure. Trust, once broken, is hard to win back, and Rutters is now learning that the hard way. While Rutters is known for being a popular convenience store and gas stop, what most customers do not see is what happens behind the scenes with the people who actually run these stores every day. Over the past few years, more and more current and former employees have come forward online and in interviews to share troubling stories about what it is really like to work at Rutters. Reviews on major job sites have painted a consistent picture of low morale, toxic management, and harsh working conditions that make it nearly impossible for some employees to do their jobs well or feel respected. Some workers say they were hired with promises of flexibility, fair treatment, and room to grow, only to find themselves thrown into chaotic shifts with little training, little support, and almost no room for error. Multiple employees have claimed that managers often created a hostile environment, yelling at staff in front of customers, playing favorites, and even making threats if someone complained or made a mistake. Others said they were expected to cover multiple roles at once, like running the register, cleaning the bathrooms, prepping food, and unloading deliveries, all within the same shift. This kind of multitasking might sound efficient, but for underpaid workers trying to keep up with constant pressure, it becomes overwhelming fast. Some former staff describe being denied breaks during long shifts, while others said they felt punished or even forced out for reporting unsafe conditions or asking for help. In some stores, employees alleged that health violations were ignored and that they were told to clean or cook in areas that were clearly unsanitary. A few even claimed they were expected to work through illness, especially during busy hours, because calling out meant risking discipline or being labeled unreliable. One of the most common themes in these complaints is that corporate leadership seems far removed from the actual experience of store-level workers. Employees say they felt like numbers, not people, and that when concerns were raised, nothing changed. The promise of a fast-paced but friendly work environment ended up being a cover for a stressful, thankless grind where the only thing that moved fast was the rate at which workers quit. On top of all that, many said the pay did not match the workload. For a company that operates in multiple states and promotes its image with flashy ads and loyalty programs, it is surprising to hear so many consistent stories of burnout, stress, and disrespect from inside the stores. Rutter's might look polished from the outside, but if these stories are true, there is clearly a disconnect between the brand they show to customers and the reality employees are living each day. And in any business, especially one that depends on frontline workers to deliver good service, that kind of gap is not just a problem, it is a warning sign. For many people, Rutter's is just a place to grab gas and food, but for the communities living near some of their stores and proposed locations, the experience is far more complicated. Behind the bright signs and 24-hour service, Rutter's has quietly faced growing concern over how its stores and expansion projects affect the environment and the neighborhoods around them. One of the most talked about issues involves violations connected to diesel fuel spills and stormwater runoff, especially in areas close to wetlands and protected land. In early 2024, Pennsylvania's Department of Environmental Protection cited Rutter's for multiple offenses at a planned store site in Huntingdon County. According to official reports, construction activity led to muddy runoff entering a nearby wetland, raising alarms from both local residents and environmental groups. The site had been controversial from the start, with residents warning that building a gas station so close to sensitive natural areas could have long-term consequences. People were worried about fuel leaks seeping into the groundwater, increased traffic disturbing wildlife, and the risk of chemical contamination during heavy rains. When the state stepped in to issue fines, it confirmed what many locals already feared, that not enough was being done to protect the environment from the side effects of commercial development. But this is not the only case where Rutter's has faced pushback. In other towns, similar concerns have come up around how the company handles construction waste, stormwater systems, and chemical storage on site. Critics say the company moves fast with expansion and does not always consider the full environmental impact of its choices. What frustrates residents the most is that once a store is built, they are often left with the consequences. Some say their roads have become more dangerous due to traffic, while others point to strange smells in the air or oil sheens in nearby water after heavy rain. Even when environmental laws are followed on paper, the real-world effects can still be harmful. And for smaller towns with limited resources, taking on a big company like Rutter's in court or through public hearings is no easy task. What starts as a few concerned neighbors can quickly turn into a years-long fight just to protect the land they live on. Rutter's has claimed it is committed to responsible growth and has said it works with regulators to fix any problems. But those words ring hollow for the people who are left cleaning up the mess. When a company's profits depend on constant expansion, the pressure to move fast can lead to shortcuts, and the environment is often the first thing to be sacrificed. In the end, the question these communities are asking is simple. Is one more gas station really worth the risk to everything around it? When people walk into a Rutter's, they expect the food to be fresh, clean, and safe. Whether it is grabbing a breakfast sandwich on the way to work or ordering a late-night burger from the touchscreen menu, customers put their trust in the brand every time they take a bite. But recent inspections and customer reports suggest that not every location is living up to that trust. In multiple counties across Pennsylvania, health inspectors have found repeated food safety violations at various Rutter's stores. These are not small technicalities. They include serious issues like expired products being sold to the public, food held at unsafe temperatures, unclean kitchen tools, and poor hygiene practices by staff. In one high-profile case from April 2024, inspectors visited a Rutter's location in York County and found what they described as a buildup of brown slime on a soda gun holster. The report also noted that milk was being sold past its expiration date and that food contact surfaces had not been properly sanitized. These kinds of violations are especially alarming because they involve the areas where food and drinks are prepared, stored, and served. Even a small slip in sanitation can lead to bacteria growth, cross-contamination, and serious health risks for anyone eating the food. When these inspection results were made public, customers were shocked. Some who had been loyal to their local Rutters said they would not be coming back, at least not until changes were made. Others expressed concern that if these were the problems inspectors caught, what else might be happening when no one is looking? To make things worse, some of these violations were not first-time offenses. Records show that certain stores had been cited before for similar issues and that corrections were either delayed or only made temporarily. Critics argue that Rutter's corporate leadership needs to take more responsibility and ensure that food safety is a consistent priority across all locations, not just something that gets cleaned up when an inspector is on the way. It is not enough to serve food fast or have touchscreen ordering systems if the basics of health and safety are not in place. A clean kitchen, properly labeled food, and trained staff are the bare minimum that any food business should deliver. For a brand as large and well known as Rutter's, customers expect more than just convenience. They expect care, attention to detail, and respect for their health. These repeated violations suggest that at some locations, that standard is being missed. And when it comes to food safety, missing the mark is not just a mistake, it is a risk that no one should have to take just to eat lunch. On the surface, Rutter's expansion might look like a good thing. More stores mean more jobs, more convenience, and more food options in places that may not have many. But if you talk to the people who actually live in the communities where new stores are being built, a very different story starts to unfold. In 2024, Rutter's announced plans to open a large new location in Huntingdon County, Pennsylvania. At first, it sounded like a win for the area, but local residents quickly pushed back when they saw where the store would be built. The site was right next to a protected wetland, a space full of wildlife, clean water sources, and fragile land that had already been under pressure from nearby development. Residents were worried that stormwater runoff from the construction site would carry oil, dirt, and chemicals into the wetland, harming the plants, animals, and even the drinking water in the area. Environmental groups and concerned neighbors spoke out at public meetings, filed complaints, and even took legal steps to delay or stop the project. They said the risks far outweighed the benefits and that their voices were not being heard. Despite their efforts, the project moved forward, and when state regulators gave Rutter's the green light to proceed, the backlash grew even louder. Protesters held signs, petitions were passed around, and articles began circulating about other Rutter's projects that had raised similar concerns in different towns. People started to question if the company was rushing to expand without truly considering the long-term impact. Some critics pointed out that while Rutter's was technically following state construction rules, it was not doing enough to protect the environment beyond the legal minimum. Others said the traffic from the new store would increase pollution, endanger pedestrians, and bring noise to what used to be a quiet neighborhood. What frustrates many residents the most is the feeling that their community is being changed forever without their consent. They believe decisions are being made in boardrooms far away from the places being affected. Rutter's has said that it values community input and works hard to meet environmental standards, but the reaction in Huntingdon County shows that the trust between the company and the people is wearing thin. As Rutter's continues to grow, more towns may find themselves facing the same question. Is this really progress, or is it just a business putting profits first and leaving local families to deal with the fallout? Now that the truth is out there, it's your turn to speak up. Have you seen something off at Rutter's? Maybe you've worked there or had a bad experience as a customer. Drop your story in the comments. We read every one. If this video opened your eyes or made you think twice, hit the like button, subscribe for more no fluff breakdowns, and share this with someone who needs to know what's really going on. This is not the end of the story, it's just the beginning.